All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome. Appreciate you being here. We apologize if we had a delayed text. We had a little support issue there, technical issue, but we are live now. If you're watching live, let me know you're on. Drop a comment. Let me know you're there. Appreciate everybody being on this morning. Can you believe this year is almost over? This is the last official company meeting of the year. So 2024 went fast. It seems like the years go faster every year. But anyway, let's dive in. We've got some good content here I want to share with you. If you're watching on Facebook, drop a comment as well. Let me know you're there. Good morning, Nettie. Good morning, Norm. Heather, good morning. Leo, good morning. Everybody else on right now, good morning. Just making sure we're all right, cool. We're going. All right, let's dive in. So let's get started. A couple of things first I want to touch on. For one, I want to congratulate our top 10 agents for volume in the month of November. It was a fantastic month. Congratulations to everybody. Really, really good month we had as a company as a whole. And just want to acknowledge the top 10 here. Angela, Tim, and Zoe taking spots 1, 2, and 3. So fantastic job, everybody. It's, again, really good month. You should all be very, very proud. I see the transactions continue to stack up. Everyone's still keeping their foot on the pedal, moving into the winter months and making things happen. So congratulations to everybody there with our top 10. Very, very, very exciting. So congrats to everyone again, top 10. All right, let's move on now. We have our top 10 growth share as well. Growth share, Angie taking the top spot with $800 in the month of November. Congratulations. So if you're newer to our company and unfamiliar with what growth share is, essentially what it is we give back about 20% of our revenue to the agents that help us grow our company. So out of our $485 fee that you pay, we give $100 of that back to your sponsoring agent. So again, these numbers are going up. They seem like they're climbing every month, which is really, really cool. And more people are getting added to the list that are receiving growth share. So congratulations to everybody here that had got a growth share check. Pretty awesome. So good month again. Month of November, pretty good. So congrats to everybody for growth share. If you haven't got your growth share or haven't gotten it yet, and you know agents that are thinking about making a move, feel free to pass their information along. I'm happy to call them and see if they might be a good fit or we might be a good fit for them. And we'd love to continue to grow our company. So thank you again to everyone that's helped us grow. And congratulations to everyone that received growth share last month. All right, congrats to the company as a whole. We had 73 homes closed last month in November. Total revenue, commissions earned, $494,863, almost $500,000 in the month of November, and $18,266,622 in total sales volume for the month of November. So again, awesome month. Again, those numbers keep climbing. So we continue to grow and bring on more great agents, and these numbers get bigger and bigger. So that's a huge month. 73 homes sold, almost $500,000 in commissions, for 18 million in closed sales volume just for the month of November alone. So congratulations to everybody there as well. Fantastic month in November. All right, let's touch on some trainings coming up real quick. Every other Wednesday, we do an agent mastermind. We have one this Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's in the evening. That's where agents jump on, share strategies that are working for them, kick around ideas. So if you haven't been a part of that yet, make sure to jump on. That is this Wednesday at 6 p.m. The links to that should have went out in the buzz that you can register and jump on that link. That is a Zoom, so it's an interactive agent. Leo, thank you. You just posted the link as well in the comments. So that's an interactive mastermind where agents can get together and kick around ideas. Make sure you jump on that. We're going to do some last minute goal setting. I know we've done our 12-week year planning already. We've hit on that at the success conference, the in-person success conference we had a couple of months ago. We've also done another iteration of that a few weeks ago, and then we're going to do some kind of a final goal setting to really wrap our heads around what's important, what our targets are for 2025, and set some metrics to make those happen. We also have in January now, 30th, we are rolling out the book club again. And so, Leo, I can't recall what our book is for the month. If you have that, drop it in there, please. Drop it in the comments. But we do have our book club coming up January 30th. That will be a monthly book club. If it's a Uncommon Accountability by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. It's a good book, Uncommon Accountability. So we're going to get a list out of all of the books for the next few months, but that's going to be January 30th. And then we also have 3 more really good trainings coming up from agents within our brokerage that have different areas of specialization. We're working on the content this week for putting those trainings together. And then we're going to be sending that out on Friday's weekly buzz. So be on the lookout for those as well. So in addition to what you see here, there's 3 more trainings getting added and probably a handful more on top of that as well. But January is going to be packed with really good content, really good trainings to help everybody really set the tone for 2025. So make sure you sign up. Leo's posting some links there. You can jump on, sign up. The monthly book club will be Zoom as well. That's going to be an interactive kind of session where we're going through and reviewing the book that we're reading. You know, they say great leaders are great readers, and some of the best knowledge I've gained hasn't necessarily been from people or coaches I've paid or from seminars I've gone to. It's been from the books I've read. So I'm a big believer that you can gain a lot of knowledge, enhance your skill set, and grow your business the more you read. The more you read, the more you can learn, and the better you can grow, and the better you can become, you know, really building yourself. So jump on for that one. But these are some of the trainings. Again, be on the lookout for that Friday weekly buzz. If you don't get that weekly buzz, it gets emailed out from me every Friday. If you don't receive that for some reason, please let me know. That's an email with everything we've got going on within the company. So make sure you let me know if you're not getting that on Fridays. We usually send it out kind of midday or toward the end of the day on Fridays. All right, let's dive in. We're going to get into some market updates now. Let's get it going. So Bill McBride, he's a housing analyst with Calculated Risk. He says with the recent house price increases, some people are worried about a new housing bubble, but mortgage debt isn't a concern and lending standards are much better now than during the bubble. So we recall back, for those of you in the business that were back in the business in 08, when I got into the business in 05, 06, people were, you know, it was a great market. 08 hit, housing crisis, lots of foreclosures. People are concerned, even though if you've been following us along for you know the last year or so, you know that there's probably no concerns of a housing bubble happening or a housing crisis. And we're going to reaffirm that today with some new data that's just been rolled out. But the housing bubble, all of your clients saying we're waiting for a foreclosure crisis to happen. I feel most people now at this point realize that that foreclosure crisis is not going to happen. And they realize that just like every 8 to 10 years, we're not supposed to have this housing crisis. It was kind of one of those things that happened in 08. And chances of it happening again anytime soon is very, very small. We're going to dive into some data around that and why the market is stable. Now, here's one of our things. We looked at this, I think a month or maybe it was 2 months ago in our company meeting. But this is talk of a lot of people saying consumer debt's at a record level. This is why we're going to have a foreclosure crisis, because so many people have debt that we're going to have this foreclosure crisis because ultimately they're not going to be able to pay their house payment. And it is true from the standpoint of, you look at all of the debt rolled in here. This is mortgage, home equity lines of credit, auto loans, credit cards, student loans, and then other debt. If you look at it, we are at an all-time high. We have more debt in this country than we ever had before. And this represents in trillions. So we're almost $18 trillion in total consumer debt in the United States through the third quarter of this year. So if I look at just this one graph, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I mean, look at all this debt we have. How are people going to be able to pay their housing payments? Look at that mortgage debt. It's extremely high. More people are borrowing against their homes now. People are taking on more auto loans. Like we all know, car loans are higher than they've ever been. And we have seen an increase in car loan defaults as well, subject for a different day. But there's no secret that the consumer debt is at a record level. It's higher than it's ever been by a lot. Like go back to 08, look where we're at, a touch over 12 trillion. Now we're pushing $18 trillion in consumer debt. And there's no signs of any slowdown of that as well. So if we took it from this one perspective, it's easy to assume that, yes, there probably will be a housing crisis. But what people fail to look at is also this. Home equity is far outpacing mortgage debt. So home equity is far outpacing mortgage debt. So if we look at our mortgage debt, it is climbing, right? There's more debt now than there has been in the past. Look at back in 2000, we were at 5 trillion in mortgage debt. Fast forward to today, we're at 13 trillion. That is a lot of debt. There's no doubt about it. So if I look at this graph alone as well, I say, yeah, we're taking on more debt. It's not a good sign. But here's the graph that most people don't look at, our home equity. Look at the amount of equity people have in their home. It's far outpacing mortgage debt. 35 trillion in equity. Now we looked at this again last month, but I want to reiterate because we're going to dive into a couple of other things here today. 35 trillion in equity compared to 13 trillion in mortgage debt. So when we're looking at this, look at the delta between we're looking here, between our debt and our equity. It's substantial. There's a lot of equity that homeowners have in their homes right now. So because of that, I want you to look at this real quick. Equity growth has begun to moderate along with broader home prices in recent months, but that's still the largest volume of equity we've seen on record. Adjusting for seasonality, the average homeowner now has 319,000 of equity in their home, of which 207,000 could be borrowed against while maintaining a 20% equity cushion. People have more equity in their homes than ever before. And if we go back to the slide, look at that. The only time we were at a negative equity position was during that foreclosure crisis in 2008, where people had less equity than they owed on their homes. Now it's substantial. It's the greatest it's ever been. So we would have to have a drastic decline in home values in order to get back to 2008, which there's nothing on the horizon indicating that's going to happen. So for the homeowner in the early stage of foreclosure, that equity helps them avoid a foreclosure sale either by leveraging the equity to pay down the past due mortgage bills or selling their property in order to protect the equity they'd otherwise lose at auction. So basically what that's saying is somebody goes into foreclosure, chances are they have enough equity to just sell it, pay their agent compensation, move on to into something else. And so the likelihood of our foreclosure crisis happening again, very, very, very low. Angie says, equity is a powerful conversation right now, especially at holiday parties. Yes, Angie, thank you. You're absolutely right. Thank you for saying that. Again, these are things, and this is the reason we do these, give you these statistics, because this is what will separate you from the average realtor out there that doesn't study the market and doesn't know what they're talking about. They read a headline, they say, oh yeah, consumer debt's high, foreclosures are going to be, oh yeah, foreclosures are coming, I can feel it. They have no evidence to substantiate that claim other than they saw a headline. And Angie's absolutely right. At the holiday parties, people ask, how's the market? And the better you know this information and you can speak intelligently about it with supported data, the better off you're going to be, and the better you're going to be seen as a professional, not just the practitioner realtor or the novice realtor that doesn't really know what they're talking about. So yeah, thank you, Angie, for saying that. Absolutely. Now, let's look at this. Serious mortgage delinquency rates remain low. So the percentage of mortgage balance 90+ day delinquent through the end of Q3. Look how low we are. This is mortgage. These aren't people in foreclosure. This is people that are delinquent on their payment. So 90 days or greater. Look how low it is. We are so far away. We're down here. Now, even though it upticked slightly, we're so far away from where we were when we had the housing crisis. We were at almost 9%. And what mortgage loan processors, when you look at some of the big loan companies, what they will tell you is that when we are less than 1% on a delinquency rate, that is considered a very healthy market. So we're considered right now to be in a very healthy market. We've been there for quite a while. You can see in 2019-ish, 2020, early parts of 2020, we were starting to creep up above that. And then we know what happened, COVID, right? Even with all of the forbearance and the loan modifications and everything that took place during 2020, which was a cause for concern where people assumed or thought, not even assumed, they thought that, well, once we come out of this forbearance and these people can't get caught up on their payments, we're going to start seeing a rise in delinquencies and foreclosures. It didn't happen. What happened is people gained a lot of equity during that time, and they continue to today, and they were able to get caught up on their loan. Even if they did a loan modification, they were able to get caught up. And so we're seeing delinquencies still well under 1%, which is considered healthy. So keep that in mind too, from anyone talking about a foreclosure. If you talk to people at holiday parties and say, yeah, we're just going to wait for the market to crash, and then we're going to look for a house, or we're going to wait for the market to crash and we're going to go out and buy some investment properties. They might be waiting a very long time. So keep that in mind. Now, In October 2024, the U.S. housing market experienced a slight uptick in foreclosure activity, with 30,784 properties filing foreclosure, marking a 4% increase from the previous month. But here's the big one, an 11% decrease year over year. This nuanced trend shows foreclosure levels remain relatively low despite monthly rises. So even though it went up slightly, it's still under compared to year to date or compared to last year, and it still remains relatively low. Here's our foreclosure activity. So it actually decreased. So keep in mind, what we just saw previously was the people in delinquency. They're not making their payment. They're 90 days behind. This is the graph that represents the actual people in the foreclosure process. And if you look here, whoops. If you look here, the moratorium, the foreclosure moratorium, we had that during 2020 and that where a lot of people were under forbearance, everything like that. But look here, we're actually trending down a little bit. So we are still, in 2024, we're still well below where we were when at the height of our foreclosure crisis. So again, this is a powerful graph. Screenshot it, take a pic, share it, let people know that the foreclosure crisis of 08 we're really, really far away from that happening. And you know what? That's a good thing. 08 was a really bad time for a lot of people, and we don't want to see that happen to people. We don't want people to suffer like that. So the fact that foreclosures are at a very, very low level is actually a very, very positive thing. The people that say, oh, I can't wait for a good foreclosure crisis, it's basically saying, I can't wait for a bunch of people to suffer and deal with one of the most horrible times of their lives. So the fact that foreclosure activity is low is a positive thing for us. So again, this is a really powerful slide, in my opinion, to let people know that foreclosures, the crisis of 08 is probably not going to happen for a very, very long time, unless, of course, some unforeseen thing happens. But chances of it happening, getting back to this level, it's and you can see too, look at the foreclosures, even in 05, as it climbed, it was climbing. We were seeing momentum on foreclosures. Here, we're seeing everything just trending down. So again, not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit here and talk about what I feel is an opportunity coming up for all of you to potentially grow your business. Now, the first thing is expired listings. Expired listings can be a fantastic pillar of business. And if you look here, days on market has risen since 2021. Look here, in 2021, we were at 43 days, 2022, 50, we were pretty flat. We're up to 58 days on market for the average from a national perspective, or median, excuse me, not average, median. Now, with days on market starting to increase, we're seeing homes sit on the market longer. The days of putting every house on the market, it's getting multiple offers and crazy ask over bids has kind of gone away. Now, that's not to say homes aren't still receiving that. Specific certain homes in areas priced correctly are still seeing multiple offers and seeing over asking prices. There's no doubt about it. But as a whole, we're seeing that days on market is starting to climb. And so, yes, there are pockets, there are areas, there are specific properties that are still get those crazy amount of offers on it. But as a whole, we're not seeing it like we were in 2020, 2021, 2022, et cetera. So days on market is climbing. And inventory levels are also rising. That means more homes, this is an active listing count, more homes are on the market this year than they were in the past. So as you can see, in 2021, we have a substantially larger number of homes on the market today than we did in 2021. So we're seeing days on market go up, we're seeing inventory go up, and then the other ingredient to this as well is that we're seeing existing home sales dropping. So existing home sales are down substantially from 2021 and 2022. Now, I just looked at, now some people would see this graph and say, oh my gosh, there's nothing happening. That's why my business is slow. They would make it excuses if their business is slow right now. This is an easy graph to look at and be like, well, sales are down. So, of course my business is going to be slow. But I looked today, in the last 12 months, we had 35,000 single family homes sell in our MLS. 35,000. That means there's 35,000 buyers that purchased those 35,000 listings. That's 70,000 transactions in the last 12 months. So if you want to look at the slide and say, well, no wonder my sales are down, you have to look at that data and say, well, there were 70,000 opportunities for my business to be up. All right, that's the only number I ever look at. How many homes are selling? If there's homes selling, we should be able to go get market share. Don't ever use data like this to create a scenario in your mind as to why your business is slow. If your business is slow right now, there's probably one reason why your business is slow. You probably haven't taken enough activity over the last 90 days. So if you look at what you've done over the last 90 days, that probably will explain why there's been a slowdown in your business. Have you been making the contacts? Have you been hitting your database? Have you been doing open houses? Have you been doing calling for sale by owners and expireds and door knocking and farming and doing all the things you could potentially be doing to grow your business? Or are you saying, well, it's the winter, it's the Christmas time, it's holidays, that's why my business is slow? It doesn't have to be. Statistically, not even statistically, when I was running my sales team, December was our second best month of the year every single year. It's because we kept our foot on the gas and we kept selling and we kept helping people that were motivated during those times to buy and sell homes. So don't use this. But going back to my point with expireds, days on market is up, right? Inventory levels are up. Existing home sales are down. When we look at that and put that all together, that gives us more expired listings. So expired listings, if this has not been a pillar of your business, it's something you may want to look at to increase your sales in 2025. I will also tell you that December 31st at midnight, we see a lot of homes expire. So in the past, on January 1st, I used to get up and I would go make phone calls on January 1st to expireds. People might be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you bother people on calling expireds, calling them on New Year's." It was a fantastic day to set appointments. There was tons of expireds. If you're prepared and willing to do it, you want to make calls January 1st. There's lots of people that will answer because everybody's home. I probably wouldn't call it 8 o'clock. I'd wait till like 10, give them a little time, 10:30. But I can promise you, just from past experience, it was a fantastic day to set appointments. So keep that in mind. If you're somebody that currently calls expireds and you're comfortable with it, then I recommend get on the horn on January 1st and go stack your business up that day. Now, understanding this too, I want to talk just briefly about the 4 options that sellers have when it comes to an expired listing. So their 4 options generally are this. They're going to relist with their current agent. They're going to relist with a new agent. They're going to take the house off the market, or they're going to list for sale by owner. Now, those are 4 objections that you are going to hear when calling expired listings. So I recommend, if you're not comfortable calling expireds, go to networkglobalagents.com, click under the Agent Quick Start Guide, download the script book. There's all of these, every single scenario in here is in our script book. So on how to overcome those, all you have to do is read those, get good at reading them, and then when somebody says, "I'm going to stick with my same agent," flip to the script and read. That's all you have to do. It's pretty simple. And so simple, not easy, right? But these are the 4 objections you're going to get. I'm going to stick with my same agent. Well, yeah, we're looking to interview new agents, but we already have. Thank you. Leo just posted the script book in the comments as well. We're going to relist with a new agent, but we already have somebody in mind. Right? There's an objection handler for that. We're going to take it off the market. We're not going to sell. Well, obviously they were on the market for a reason. So we have to figure out what that motivation is, and is it their goal that they still intend to get moved to wherever they're planning on moving? Or, you know what, I'm fed up with realtors. I'm going to sell it myself. So if you can overcome those 4 objections, your expired business can go up drastically. Now, also winning expires, and I'm actually going to throw an expired course or training on the calendar here for real soon. We're going to dive into it and go into how to have these conversations with these sellers and what they're looking for. And then also Mike Shaw is going to do a training in January that we're going to get. It'll be on the Buzz this week on recognizing people's DISC personality styles. So how to quickly recognize people's personality style. Are they a high D, a driver, to the point? Are they a high C, more data driven, so on and so forth? And then how to base your presentation around having conversations with those people so you can win more. The person that says, "I am who I am, this is who I am, I don't adapt to anybody, I just operate my business the way I operate it, and I'm not going to flex and pivot to become more relatable to that seller," those people tend to lose more business than they get. If you can go on appointment and recognize that person's personality style and how they think and how they operate, right, and then adapt your style to get into more cohesion with them and build more rapport, well, you can win more business. So Mike's going to be talking about that in January. It's going to be a really good class. I'm excited about it. But master the seller psychology, rationalization. First thing they do is they rationalize why their home didn't sell. right? Reaction formation. So then they're like, you know what? We're just going to take it off. We're not going to, blah, blah, blah. Displacement, like where did they want to go? What was their goal? And then we got to figure out 3 factors that may have prevented the house from selling. Why didn't it sell? Right? Maybe it was an investment property and the tenant never let people see the property. They declined every showing. Well, we need to figure that out. Maybe the house looked terrible online. Maybe the photos were awful. Maybe the house was super cluttered and we needed some staging consultation in there to get the house set up to make it look the best it could online. We always talk about web appeal. The online is our first showing. 97% of home buyers start their search online. So we need to make sure that that home looks the best it can before we have our photographer come out and take the photos. Was it priced incorrectly? In my experience, 90% of the time, it's price on an expired. If you go in there and you figure out motivation for the seller and you use that motivation to your advantage and you help show them through data what their home is worth in the market today and price it correctly, you will sell the house. So that's another reason why being an expired agent is so beneficial, because they've tested the market at a higher price with their other agent. Their agent didn't give them enough data or wasn't compelling enough in price adjustment conversations to get the house to a price that would cause it to sell. You step in now, you get the house priced correctly, it sells immediately, you look like the hero. So it's a fantastic way to build your business. And the third thing, again, is understanding the seller's 4 options. What are the options they have? They can relist it, they can take it off the market, they can sell it by themselves, or they can relist with you. So we're going to, again, get a training online in January where we're going to hammer, go hard on some expireds and get you guys feeling comfortable calling expireds. Also want to touch at FSBOs real quick. This is another opportunity, in my opinion, that I think is extremely effective in building your business. You can go on Zillow right now and click on the for sale by owners, and you have a list of people that want to sell their house that aren't being represented right now that you can call and go help them grow their business. So for sale by owners, they call it the low-hanging fruit. You have a free list through Zillow of people that want to sell their house. So for people that say, I don't know who to call, I would start with this. I would call these people and I would say, hey, I saw you were listed for sale by owner. Is that property still available or did it sell yet? Out of curiosity, if at any point in time, would you consider listing with a realtor? Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Well, why not? All right, ask them why. All right, so why not? Well, commission. I want to save on commission. Go through our commission objection handling in the script book. Start having those conversations with for sale by owners. I promise you, when you start talking to more people about real estate related things like for sale by owners and expireds and having more conversations, your business will go up. So let's look at this real quick. 90% of sellers sold with the assistance of a real estate agent. That's up 1% from last year, and only 6% were FSBO sales. So 90% sold with an agent, only 6% of home sales that occurred last year were for sale by owners. The share of for sale by owner sellers was a historical low. And then also look at this as a percentage of for sale by owners. So percent of homes selling as a FSBO decreased to 6% in 2024. So here's another thing people say, well, that's so low. Why would I even call for sale by owners? Because if you think about it, what's 6% of 35,000? Still a lot of opportunity. It's like 1,400 or something like that. You still have 1,400 opportunities here locally to go sell a house. Of the 4+ million homes that sell in the United States, 6% of 4 million is a big number. So there's still a viable opportunity for you to go take for sale by owners, even though it represents a low percentage of the overall picture of home sales, because most people do work with the assistance of a realtor, which is beneficial and super fantastic for us. There's still an opportunity here to go sell. So 1,400 homes locally sell for sale by owner. How many do you need to go have a good business? Could you go get 1 a month from that and make an extra $8,000 to $10,000 a month? Absolutely, you could. Could you go get 2 a month or 3 a month or 5 a month? Yeah, you absolutely could. So think about that. Even though it's a low percentage, there's still a massive opportunity to go grow your business. Now, where FSBOs found their buyers, 6%. This was an interesting thing too. 6% of recent home sales were FSBOs this year. So 4% of them already knew the buyer. I find that very interesting as well. So for 38% of all FSBO sellers, the main reason to sell via FSBO was because they sold to a relative friend or neighbor. So the bulk of FSBOs that occurred aren't people listing them on Zillow, even though there's still a big opportunity there, but a lot of them already knew the buyer and they just sold their house themselves. So if we look at the distribution of FSBOs, what we have here too is 38% sold it to a relative friend or neighbor. 30% did not want to pay a commission or fee. 15% the buyer contacted the seller directly. 9% didn't want to deal with an agent. 3% seller had a real estate license. 1% agent was unable to sell the home. And the rest, we couldn't find any data. So think about that. Only 1%, or excuse me, 1%, the agent was unable to sell their house. So when you get that objection where the person on the expired, go back to expired for a minute, and they say, well, I'm going to sell it myself. My agent didn't get the job done. Only 1% of those people end up actually selling. So again, massive opportunity if you can overcome that objection. But again, I think for sale by owners and expireds are a massive, massive pillar for us that is underserved, really. Like I built my business through expireds and for sale by owners. You can build a big business. You can go sell 30 homes in a year, 60 or 90 in a year, hitting for sale by owners and expireds, and then hit your database on top of that as well, of course. But again, big opportunity here. Here's the top 5 most difficult tasks for a FSBO seller. Getting the price right is 17%. They don't know how to price their home. They don't study the market like you do as a real estate agent. So 17% of the time, it's getting the price right. Selling within the length of time plan, 13%. Understanding and performing paperwork, 10%. Preparing or fixing up their home for sale, 9%. And having enough time to devote to all aspects of the sale, 5%. So just look at this and say, okay, how could I go help a for sale by owner? Well, I know 17% of the time they don't know pricing. I study the market every day. I know how to price homes correctly. I can help them with that. Could I get their home sold in the length of time they need? Absolutely, I can. I do this for a living. This is my profession. I do it full time. I can certainly help with that. Can I help them with paperwork? Certainly, right? That's 10% of the time they have to go hire a lawyer or something like that, and they might end up paying way more than they need to get the paperwork done. Can I help them get their property ready to get set up to go to market? I definitely can. And do I have time to devote to the aspect of the sale? Absolutely. So if you can overcome these things and become helpful, you can again go take more for sale by owners. So let's look at this. I want to shift gears again now. I'm going to look ahead. 2025, quick little forecast for where we see the market going in 2025. But again, think about that. If you're thinking right now, well, I'm nervous to call for sale by owners. I'm nervous to call expireds. Grab that script book, start reading those scripts, start getting good at it. And I promise you, you can build a business from those. Jump on the mastermind call, ask questions about it. We'll go through and work on some different scripts and dialogues to help you get comfortable calling for sale by owners and expireds. But I feel like for sale by owners, it's the easiest, fastest way to grow your business without paying a dime for it. Zillow gave us a gift in a certain way by putting for sale by owners cell phone numbers on their website. Gives you a reason to call. So think about that. All right, here's what we got. Founder and CEO of CJ Patrick. I don't expect to see a meaningful increase in the supply of existing homes for sale until mortgage rates are back down in the low 5s. I would tend to agree with that. I think a lot of people are locked in at their current rate and, 3% or whatever they locked in at, and they see it now as, well, I would like to move, but I don't want to move and give up my interest rate in order to take on a 6.5 or 6.75 rate. And I don't want to give up my rate, so I don't want to move that badly. That's where we have to, again, go find the motivated people that do want or need to buy and sell. So I think this statement is correct. Until we see it in the low 5 range, we're probably not going to see a substantial uptick in current supply. But what we are seeing is home builders starting to build at levels that they should have been. And so they're catching up there. So we're seeing new home construction. Again, another opportunity there. Mortgage rate projections. You look here at the end of Q4, which is just a handful of days away, 6.67. We're kind of right in line with where we are. We anticipate 2025 Q1 to 6.5. By the end of Q4 of 2025, 6.3. Now, I was looking at some data from past mortgage rate projections. A lot of them had a 5 in front of them. Last month, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, everyone was saying by now we'd be in the 5s. It goes to show that a lot of these projections and the quote unquote experts don't have a crystal ball. They don't know what they're doing. They're taking the data they have at the present moment and they're guessing. All right, that's the best explanation. Nobody knows for certain. Nobody has the crystal ball where we can see into the future, at least no one that I know of. And so The averages now are all in the sixes. So again, good data to take to your clients that are on the fence waiting for that 3% or 4% interest rate, mortgage rate, or even in the fives, and let them know the likelihood of us seeing in the fives right now is pretty small. So let's talk about what this home buying process looks like for you at rates at 6.5%. All right. So if we have the conversations here, and again, we can take the data we have and we can give that to our clients and say, look, I just had a company meeting. We're looking at mortgage rate projections. In the past, the experts, quote unquote experts, were all saying we're probably going to be in the fives by now. We're not. We're in the mid to upper sixes, and all signs are indicating that we will remain in the sixes through 2025. Now, does that mean we might not see high fives? No, it doesn't. But again, we take the data we receive, we look at it, we put it together, and this is where we're looking at. By the end of next year, 6.3%. There's nothing on here that says 5. So just keep that in mind. Again, I think it's good data to relay to your clients to let them know where we see the mortgage rates going into 2025. Of course, you're going to get headlines. We're going to be in the 4s or 5s, but is there data to substantiate that? The answer is most likely no. So again, screenshot this one, share it out to your clients, let them know, the clients that are on the fence waiting for that lower rate, are they willing to pass up on potential equity that they could gain in their home this year in order to offset an interest rate? So equity is going to continue to rise. Touch on that here in a moment. Again, here's our projections. Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, Wells Fargo, and then where we're currently at. So again, we're going to see a slight downward trend on rates, but again, it's not going to be down here. All right. If we want to get back to Q4 of 2020, it might be a long time. It could be 2 years, could be 20 years, could be never. We don't know. But everything we're seeing right now, we're going to remain in the sixes into 2025. All right. Lower mortgage rates are expected to boost the housing market, but the lift will be modest, giving continued tightness in the existing inventory and home buyers staying on the sidelines, expecting further rate declines. Again, that's the big thing. A lot of home buyers on the sidelines waiting for further rate declines. Let them know rates probably aren't going to drop significantly enough to make that big of an impact in their payment. Also, pull up a loan calculator. You can download apps, but pull up a mortgage or loan calculator and just look at the difference. Take a $300,000 home and a difference between 6.5% and 6% or 6.25%. The difference in payment is not that much. And something I think is very important is that most home buyers are purchasing a payment. They're purchasing a payment. What's my P&I, principal and interest? What are my taxes, escrows, all of that? What is my monthly payment going to be? They're not necessarily, it's the same way with cars. When you go to buy a car, they say, well, where do you want to be monthly payment wise? And then they structure a deal. It's never how much do you want to spend on a sale price. It's where do you want to be from a monthly payment perspective. It's the same way in real estate in a lot of regards. A lot of people are buying a payment, not a purchase price. So keep that in mind as well. If you can show them, look, where we're at today at 6.75 or 6.6, whatever the current rate of the day is, here is what your monthly principal and interest will be. Also, let's look at some properties and see what the average taxes would be, the escrows, insurance, things like that. Are you comfortable with a payment like this? If the answer is yes, then maybe it doesn't make sense to wait for rates to drop a percentage point, which might not drop for a year or two. So just keep that in mind as well. Just get creative in having conversations with your clients that are on the fence about rates. Now, home price forecast. We're looking at the average home price appreciation. The average of all of these is saying that home price appreciation is going to go up on average 3%. One I always look at is Goldman. Goldman seems to be pretty accurate over the last 5 or 6 years with their home price appreciation forecast. So we could probably safely say we're going to be north of 4% from an appreciation perspective. Moody's, they're throwing us off with the negative, but everybody else is on par with positive growth appreciation. I also looked at this from September. In September of this year, we were at the average of all three was 2.6%. So it's actually gone up. We're at 3% now. So that's telling me that a lot of the analysts here are seeing more confidence in the market in the fact that we're probably going to see a price appreciation. So again, let your clients know that too. No signs of any kind of foreclosure crisis happening, no signs of the market going down. We're seeing actually all signs that we're going to have upward price appreciation. So if I sit on the sidelines for a year and don't buy a house, even though I want to, I might miss out on 4% appreciation. If I buy a $500,000 house, that's $20,000 in equity I lose by not buying, waiting for a lower rate that probably won't come. So again, keep that in mind. Total home sales forecast is expected to rise. So again, total home sales is down. We know that, but the experts are saying in 2024, we're starting to see it, we're pacing upward, but they're expecting in 2025 to see an uptick in home sales. A lot of that has to do with new construction. A lot of builders are building a lot right now. So we're seeing new home construction sales increasing. So even though, again, back to our previous slide where they're saying existing home sales, existing homes, that's stalled a little bit. We're seeing new home construction sales increase, which is helping our expectation that home sales will continue to rise in 2024. Looking ahead to 2025, my baseline expectation is that single-family home construction is poised to steadily increase. So home construction, bolstered by modest declines in financing costs for builders and buyers and the scarcity of existing homes due to the mortgage rate lock-in effect. So we might see a modest, very small decrease in cost, which could help the buyer for new home construction. Cost of lumber, like remember during COVID, all the crazy prices of material costs, how they went through the roof. We've seen that normalize a little bit. We may even see a little bit of a decline in that, probably not enough to make any kind of impact, but we are seeing builders getting back to the levels they should have been building the last 10 years because they did underbuild for a decade or so. So that will help our inventory issue where we're going to see more homes hit the market, more homes available, but also it's going to offset a little bit with the existing homes because of what they call here the scarcity of existing home sales due to the mortgage rate lock-in effect, meaning that people are locked in at a low rate. They don't want to give up their rate in order to move. So that's where, again, the real estate market is all about finding the motivated. Find the people that want to move, need to move, don't really care about their interest rate. They just want to move and get into a bigger house, smaller house, better school district, different area, whatever the case may be. I'm relocating for work. I need to sell. Go find those people. And so again, I hope this gives a clearer picture of the market right now, where we're at, where we're going. I anticipate 2025 to be a fantastic year for all of you. I think there's ample opportunity out there. I looked online. There's about 800 plus homes in our local MLS that sold in the last 7 days. It's a lot of opportunity. So always think about that. How many homes, go on Maris, look at the stats. How many homes went under contract in the last 7 days? How many sold? If it's pushing 1,000, how many do you need to go get to continue to grow your business? So focus on that. Don't focus on headlines talking about sales are down or this or that. Focus on there's always ample opportunity to grow my business if I'm prepared to go put the work in to go out and find it. So I hope everybody has a fantastic day, a fantastic Christmas holiday. Again, we have the Agent Mastermind call tomorrow night at 6. And again, if you need anything, call. Thank you, everybody, for being on. If you're watching this later and you have questions, drop them in. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. We'll talk soon. Thank you, everybody.